Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be another installment in the hashtag Men's Makeup May series that my friend Jonathan Curtis started here on YouTube. If you guys are not familiar, this tag is just a tag to bring together all of the male beauty gurus here on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever, just to put our work all together and just show awareness for men's makeup, which is on the rise, and that is awesome. So today's video I'm going to be doing my top 5 men's makeup essentials. So these are the top 5 things that I think every guy should have in their makeup collection, whether it be you are a beginner or a professional makeup artist. These are just things that I think everybody should have. I'm gonna get right into my top 5. Before I do, I just wanted to mention that this is going to be a collab video with Brandon Marshall. He is another male YouTuber here on YouTube, obviously, and we are going to be doing this collab together. So I will link his video down below in his channel as well, and let's get right into it. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about, and we're actually going to do this on my face as we go, is foundation. Foundation is something that's very important to have in your makeup routine, especially if you're someone who doesn't have perfect skin. When you are younger, you do, but as we get older, we get pigmentation, we get acne and scarring and whatnot. And foundation is just a really easy way to make our skin look really good. So the 2 foundations that I have to recommend are from the drugstore, the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Fit Me Foundation, and then L'Oreal Pro Matte Infallible Foundation. So these 2 are my 2 favorite from the drugstore because they have very good coverage and the formulation is very skin-like, so it blends in evenly, and it's not super expensive, so you aren't going to be breaking the bank because foundation is something that you buy fairly frequently. A good Sephora option would be the Too Faced Born This Way foundation or the Marc Jacobs Genius Gel, both of which I do not have on hand at the moment. So the 2 here are both matte, and I prefer matte foundations because you can make them dewy if you would prefer, and then they'll keep your oil down, whereas with dewy foundations, you then have to use a lot of powder or whatnot to keep your skin from becoming oily and keeping it a little more matte in the areas that you'd want to, whereas these you can just add a highlight to make you look more dewy. The one that I'm going to be using today is going to be the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Matte. And I'll zoom you in a little bit. And this foundation, as with most, can be applied with either your fingertips, a brush. Actually, I'm going to do the other side of my face. And I'm actually, guys, I'm not going to do one half of my face just so you can see the difference. I'll leave this half. And you can apply foundation with a brush, with your fingers, with a sponge, whatever you feel comfortable using. Today I'm going to be applying this with a brush. And you really just want to cover any areas where you have any like hyperpigmentation, which is dark marks, or hypopigmentation, which would be lighter marks on your face, or any acne, scarring. And then with foundation, you don't want to apply it too heavily. You kind of want to do even layers that are not too thick, because you can always add more, but it's harder to take away. And depending on your skin condition and type, you may need a second layer, you may not. My skin is very, very good right now, just from my skin routine and also from going vegan. I've cut out meat and that has hugely improved my skin. So I generally only need 1 layer of any foundation that I'm using, but if you need another one, you can add 2, or you can get a full coverage foundation which will cover more and then just use 1 layer if you want to keep the amount of product on your face to a minimum. So that is the difference between this side and this side. As you can see, it's much more evened out. It's very kind of flat, and then this side isn't, I mean, I have discoloration, but there's a huge difference as you can see. The next product that I want to talk about is setting powder. So setting powder is something that's really important, especially if you are a teenager and you get a little shiny like on your nose or your forehead or under your eye area. And if you are someone who is more advanced in your makeup, you can use it to set your concealers and make sure they last longer. So the 2 that I have to recommend are the Makeup Forever HD Setting Powder and then the Coty Translucent Airspun Powder from the drugstore. This is probably my #1 recommended powder because it is just amazing. You get a ton of product and it's around $8 or $9, I believe, and I have had this for over 2 years now, so it lasts a lifetime. The one downside to it, it does have a fragrance, and that's something to keep in mind if you're sensitive to fragrances. I personally am not, so I don't have a problem with it. Also, the only difference between these two powders is this one, even though it says translucent, I'm not gonna lie, there is a slight tint to it, very, very slight, and you really only notice it if you put on too much. The Makeup Forever HD setting powder is more finely milled. That being said, it does have a lot of kickoff and it can get everywhere, so it's more messy, but it is more finely milled and 100% translucent. So these are two options that you can use. The Coty Airspun comes with a little pad. I usually don't use that. I'll just dip my brush in and then set the areas where I usually get a little powder or a little oily. And as you can see, like, do you see that sheen right there? Just putting that right here completely eliminates it and it's more flat and matte. If you get these little tiny ones, you can carry them with you and they're just a great accessory to have in your collection. The next thing that I recommend having in your collection would be a bronzer. And as you all know, a bronzer is going to make you look like you just came back from Bali or Tahiti, wherever you are dreaming of going. And it's just an easy way to add life to your face. Now, there is differences in beauty aesthetics depending on where you live. If you're from Korea or Japan, you may not want to use bronzer, you prefer a paler face. But if you live in the States or Australia or the UK, bronzer is going to be your best friend for days where you want to be lazy. This is also one of the first products I would recommend getting if you're a guy just getting into makeup, because it's very minimal, you don't really have to, there's not too much fuss with it, and it's very undetectable. Three that I had to recommend are the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer, the Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer, and then the NYX Matte Bronzer. NYX Matte Bronzer is from the drugstore, so this is more value friendly, and everyone can get it from Target, Walgreens, CVS, wherever NYX is carried near you. And this is just a nice flat matte bronzer. The Too Faced Chocolate Soleil Bronzer is from Sephora, and it's a nice medium cool tone chocolate brown. And I say chocolate brown because it literally has cocoa powder in it and smells delicious. So this really isn't necessary, but it's more just a very nice experience to use this product. And then lastly, I have the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer. This one is amazing because, as you can see, it has this marbleized veining running through it, and that is a highlighter, very sheer, which will add a nice glow to the skin, which I'll show you right now. Just take a little bit, tap off the brush, and you want to keep this on the outside of your face, near your hairline, coming down onto your jaw and onto your neck. Do you see that glow it gives? So this bronzer is gorgeous. It's really nice. You can hit it right at the hairline. This kind of minimizes your forehead. And you can bronze up the cheeks. And men generally aren't going to have it just in the perimeter. You kind of have it on your nose too. It's not like women where it's more precise placing. You kind of bring it on the whole brow area as opposed to just in the perimeter. And there you go, a nice, soft, warm glow. The next category of product that I have to talk about is brows. And really there's only two things that I recommend for your brows, is an actual brow powder or an eyeshadow. Two products that I recommend are the Becca Ombre Nudes palette, because there are multiple shades. So if you have lighter brows, there's an option for you. If you have darkest brows, there's an option for you. There's also a highlight shade in here to clean up under your brow. And then also, if you're a makeup artist, this is an easy way to have access to multiple colors for different clients' hair. The other option would be a single eyeshadow. One that I really like is the Biguine Deep Brown Matte Shadow. This is very, very highly pigmented, so it doesn't take too long. However, because it's so pigmented, I don't recommend this option to beginners because you can mess up very easily. You can get any matte brown or taupey shadow from the drugstore would work as well. So for my brow today, I'm going to be taking the Becca Ombre Nudes palette and the darkest shade, and just filling in my brow. And brows are an easy way to just enhance your face. It's very minimal, you don't really have to apply a lot, and it's very undetectable. No one would really know that you have makeup on, depending on how defined you make it. And I never really change the shape of my brow, I just kind of fill in the actual hairs that exist. I don't change the shape or go outside. And then once I have filled that in, I'll take a spoolie, and a spoolie is something like this, that's like a mascara wand, and then you just brush out your hairs. Now for the most natural appearing brows, you want it to be the lightest in here, fading out to the darkest at the tail. And then another thing that I like to use brow powders for is defining the lower lash line. It's another easy way to utilize one product and get two uses out of it. So for that, I would just start with that same brush, apply a little bit of a dark color right here, bringing it about halfway, and then just taking your little brush, and then really diffusing and smoking out that powder. And as you can see, that made a huge, huge difference between this eye and this eye. It's much more awake, more dramatic, more feline. I mean, not feline, but I guess it's kind of cattish, but it's more just awake and elongated. And then the final product that I have to talk about is eyelash curlers. So an eyelash curler is a very, very easy way to enhance your look, and it's one step that you can kind of do on its own and just walk out the door. You don't even need to do anything else because it opens the eyes, it makes you look like you got all of your sleep. And if you can't find or don't have access to a computer, or I mean, that sounds stupid. If you're watching this, you have access to a computer. If you don't have money to order something online, or like a debit card and you only have cash, like if you're younger, a drugstore curler will get you by just fine. But if you want to splurge a little bit and then have a really good curler for the rest of your life, the Shu Uemura S curler is going to be your go-to. This is by far the most amazing lash curler that has ever been made. There are no side walls, as you can see, like in this one, you see how there's walls right here. That limits where you can curl. This you can move along your eyes, and I'll show you that right now. By just lightly curling the eyelashes, you can see what a huge difference that makes between this eye and this eye. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of my top 5 men's essentials for everyday makeup. I had a couple good recommendations in each. Can you hear me? I can't talk today. I think I have a couple good recommendations for each category for you if you were looking for some new products, especially if you are just starting off into makeup. All of the drugstore options that I offered are really good. They're very affordable and they last a long time and will get the job done. And if you're someone who's a little more experienced in makeup and want to add some more splurgy items to your collection, here are some options for you as well. Alright guys, so that concludes this. Don't forget to check out Brandon's video to see what his makeup 5 essentials are. I can't wait to check it out. And also don't forget to use the hashtag men's makeup May for the rest of this month, so you can see all of our videos and posts. And that's about it guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you liked this, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!